Today, we also confer an honorary degree upon Berthold Carriere in acknowledgement of his commitment to artistic excellence and his impact on the theatrical and music theater world in North America. I'm delighted to welcome him to this convocation. To present our distinguished candidate, I now call upon Dean Betty Yunker, Don Wright Faculty of Music.
Berthold Carriere. Mr. Berthold Carriere, composer, conductor, and teacher, graduated from the University of Montreal with his Bachelor of Music in 1966, and then the University of Western Ontario with his Master's of Music in Composition in 1973. While at Western, he studied with many faculty members, including composition with Arsenio Giron and music history with Philip Downes, both of whom he remembers fondly. He is one proud Western alum. Western honors those who leave a legacy and make an impact on one's discipline. Mr. Carriere's legacy is his direct influence on the theatrical and musical theater worlds, classical and modern, in North America. His commitment to artistic excellence over the span of his career has been represented in multiple venues, most notably at Stratford Festival, which he grew artistically through his composed and arranged music for over 80 productions from 1973 to 2007, and his musical direction. He served as a composer, a conductor, and festival director, auditioning singers, working with choreographers, and reviewing music projects. His innovative work in putting Shakespeare plays to music, arranging music for a variety of theatrical and musical theater shows, guiding young and seasoned artists in the pit and on the stage, impacted not only the musicians and actors, but audience members as well. In 2002, Bert's music was featured at the Stratford Festival in performance by the Canadian Brass, the St. Mary's Children's Choir, and the Festival Youth Singers. In 2003, he was commissioned by the festival to write Music for Midsummer's Night, which was played on the opening night of the festival. This has become an annual event. Bert retired as festival music director in 2007. Well, we have to redefine retire for Bert. In 2008, he returned to conduct The Music Man to great acclamation. In 2013, he was named to the honorary position of Director of Music Emeritus at Stratford, and most recently was asked to produce the music for George Farquhar's delicious 18th century comedy, The Beau Stratagem, which was staged during the 2014 Stratford season. It was most delightful. When speaking about the festival, Mr. Carriere is passionate as he describes a legacy built on tradition and innovation. His words reflect an uncompromising commitment of excellence to the art form. Anything less is unacceptable. In addition to his work with the Stratford Festival, Bert has arranged and composed music for CBC radio and television, including The Tempest and Twelfth Night for CBC Radio in 1999, and was music director at the Banff School of Fine Arts. In 1998, he took productions of Much Ado About Nothing and The Miser to the New York City Center. He wrote music for King Lear in 2004, which was presented by the Lincoln Center on Broadway. His music has been captured on CDs, including performances by the Elmer Eisler Singers. Finally, for multiple years, he conducted Dominion Day celebrations on Parliament Hill, including one in the presence of Queen Elizabeth II. Awards are many, and they include the Special Tribute Guthrie Award in 1975, Dora Award for Musical Direction, The Boyfriend, 1981, Dora Award for Musical Direction, The Mikado, 1987, University of Western Ontario's Alumni Professional Achievement Award, 2000, Order of Canada, 2001, the Queen's Golden Jubilee Medal, 2003, and was named to the Don Wright Faculty of Music Wall of Fame in 2008. Currently, he serves on our Dean's Advisory Council and always has many words of wisdom, insights, and guidance. Mr. Carriere has made an impact on artistic experiences for audiences regionally, provincially, nationally, and internationally, and has done so from the passion he has for the arts. His career has been one of commitment with a sense of generosity and a huge sense of honesty, which compels us to honor him today. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor and in the name of the Senate, I ask that you confer the degree of Doctor of Music, Honoris Causa, upon Mr. Berthold Carriere.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as acting Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Music, Honoris Causa. Congratulations, Dr. Carriere. On behalf of all assembled here today, I should now like to invite our newest alumnus, Dr. Berthold Carriere, to address Convocation.
See my legs shaking? Mr. Chancellor, Madam President, Dean Dr. Betty Ann Yonkers, Dean Michael Mildy, Professor Don McKellar, faculty members, Kim Malcolm and the Alumni Association staff, parents, grandparents, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I'm exhausted already. Okay. This is a very special day for all of us. This is a very special day for me. It was here at Western that my professional career took its most momentous turn. So my return here today to receive this tremendous honor means the world to me. Be kind and understanding to the people you pass on the way up, since you will no doubt meet them again on the way down. It was a saying Lester Pearson, ex-Prime Minister of Canada, was fond of quoting. The kind and understanding people that I'm going to talk about today are the reason I'm standing on this very podium. Allow me to tell you 3 stories about these people whom I met on the way up. I got into university in a very funny way. You might even say sort of false pretenses. I'm not talking about Western. I'm talking about the University of Montreal, Université de Montréal. Music was the only thing I wanted to do as a kid, and my mother knew this. Mom was an incredible woman. She was smart and strong and very determined. She only went to grade 3, but you couldn't fool her about anything. She was also a very, very small lady, 4'8", maybe a little less. She's the only person I know to this day who could walk into a Volkswagen and sit down. I'm not kidding. She was the best. She was my inspiration. She pulled me out of French high school I was attending because there was no music program, and enrolled me into an English high school in Ottawa, a technical, vocational type school with a special arts student program. It was an early experiment by the Board of Education. Ottawa Tech High was an all-boys school with a superb music teacher by the name of John Murdy. an extraordinary man, a man who pointed me in the right direction. Thank you, John Murdy. When I first got to Ottawa Tech, I could barely, and I mean barely, speak English. But that was okay. I learned fast. We do when we get to be put in a situation like this. Helping out with school concerts, assemblies, and of course, by speaking English all the time, it got better. The principal and teachers at Tech took a special interest in me and my future, so much so that they fibbed a little bit on my behalf when it came time for university. You see, in Ontario, one needed a 5-year academic course to get into university. In the province of Quebec, it was a 4-year academic course. I was not in any sort of academic course, but with the help of my teachers, I took a chance and applied to University of Montreal. I was interviewed. To my surprise, I was accepted. I couldn't believe it. But there was one condition. I needed a pass in high school physics. Help me, Rhonda. Why would anyone need physics to study music? I suppose in their minds it had something to do with understanding acoustics, a word I didn't even know existed. My teachers at Tech said to me, "Don't worry, Bert, we'll find a way around this if it's the last thing we do." So they looked at my report card, and they agreed that I was okay in math, fine in history. My English was passable by that point. And then they came to where the card said phys ed, and one of them had a bright idea. Why don't we omit Ed? Get him out of there. And leave Fizz. That's short for physics, right? Okay. And that's how I got into University of Montreal. I paid for it later. Okay, a second step up on the ladder. I came after my first year at Montreal U. I'd done quite well my first year. I'd done quite well, had good grades, but then that summer my father died at the age of 53. I was one of 5 boys in the family, and there was no way my mother could afford to keep me in university. So I wrote the dean to explain why I wouldn't come back. He wrote back to me, "Please come and see me. We really want you here. Let's see what we can do." So off I went to Montreal to see him. I arrived and met him in his new office, all new redecorated office. It was a beautiful leather couch, a grand piano, an assortment of very good French wines in there for important visitors, right? And an immense collection of books and recordings. We sat down and he said to me, "What exactly do you need?" Well, I said, "I need a place to stay and some money to live on." And there was a little bit of a gap. And he said, "You can live here." I said, "What?" He said, "You can live here in my office." "Do you like it?" I said, "It's great." You know. The deal was, no, he wasn't kidding. The deal was that I had to be in after 10 at night and out again before 7:15 in the morning because of maintenance and because he didn't want anybody to suspect anything. As for living expenses, he said if you sing Mass with me in the university chapel, I'll pay you $2 every time. Well, that wasn't a joke either. In the 60s, $2 was a lot of money. So I'd do two or three times. That took care of the week. So he gave me a key to the building and to his office. And for the next year, I camped out on campus. One morning, his secretary came in around 6:30 to catch up on some work. When I heard the door, I jumped up, and still only half awake, I ran straight into her. You can imagine her face. My God, she said, what are you doing here? And there was a gap. She says, what are you doing here? Well, there was only one answer I could give her. I live here. I live here. Well, she never said a thing about this to anyone. Instead, she kindly offered me a spare room in an apartment she shared with her mother and sister. And I lived there for the rest of my undergraduate career. Another crucial moment where people helped and were kind to me. After graduating, I spent a year in Ottawa working for the CBC before deciding to go on and do a master's degree in composition at Western. Again, my good friend John Murdy, my favorite music teacher, knew the assistant dean here at Western. His name is Professor Don McKellar. He couldn't be with us today, but he was another person who really encouraged and helped me several times during my graduate studies. He has followed my career since I left the Faculty of Music. Thank you, Don McKellar, for your kindness to me. I was interviewed and got accepted into the master's program. Then, as if I didn't have enough on my plate with my studies, I started working part-time as music director for what was then called Theatre London, now the Grand Theatre. This was one of the most important turns in my career. Call it luck, fate, opportunity, karma, whatever. Western and Theatre London helped me get to where I would spend the next 40 years of my life. An outstanding director from England by the name of Robin Phillips was about to become artistic director of the Stratford Festival. He came to see one of the shows at the Grand called The Black Donnellys, for which I had composed the music. And because of the strength of that show, I got a call to go to Stratford and meet with him. To make a long story short, I was hired a week later. My first assignment at the festival was to compose music for two shows: Bernard Shaw's St. Joan, directed by William Hutt, one of Canada's greatest theatre artists, and The Tempest, Shakespeare's last great masterpiece, directed by Robin Phillips himself. Two humongous shows in one season. Talk about starting at the top. This was a huge artistic challenge. It was like diving into a pool without knowing how to swim, and I don't, or like being fed to the lions. Most of all, it was the Stratford Festival, the second largest theater of the English-speaking world, and the biggest repertory theater in North America. If I belly flopped there, there'd be nowhere to go but down. Needless to say, there were many sleepless nights, endless rehearsals, composing and recomposing, and where does one start? Eventually, I figured the only thing to do was to get on with it and accept whatever fate had in store for me. Eventually, you just have to have faith and take the plunge. A year and a half later, I became the festival's director of music, but as you can see, it was through the kindness and support of others that I reached this high point in my life. And that's why I told you these 3 stories. And here's what I've learned from. Life doesn't always work the way we expect, no matter how you plan it. So much depends on hard work, sheer luck, and the kindness of others. If any of these people I just mentioned hadn't helped me and given me a break, there's no way of knowing where I would have ended up. Maybe playing piano in a bar on Richmond Street somewhere. Not bad, you know, I did this. Good money, good tips, everything. Very good. There's little one can do to build good fortune. One can cultivate it in the simple act of extending it to others. And there are ways of cultivating your kindness by developing empathy and stimulating your imagination. These are prerequisites of kindness, and they are among the benefits conferred on us by the arts. Now, I don't mean that an appreciation of music automatically makes you a better person, but I do believe that kindness and understanding are impossible without the kind of emotional, intellectual, and spiritual insight the arts can help you attain. We can come to terms with luck and fate by bringing shape and structure to what seems arbitrary and meaningless. Music, for instance, has been described as organized sound. To paraphrase Shakespeare in The Tempest, our world is full of noises. But by organizing sound in a structured way, we can create sweet airs that give delight. In doing so, we assert the transformative power of art to our humanity. So as you leave us here and begin to build your own lives and careers, or as I like to say, as you climb your own life ladders, I urge you to make time for going to concerts, the symphony, the theater, the art galleries, and to take time to be kind and to help others. Because those activities will nourish your souls and transform the world. The arts will enrich your enjoyment when things are going well and offer consolation when they're not. No matter how well you do in life, there will be times when you need those kinds of windows beyond yourselves. I hope you will cherish the gifts that you have and use them in the best way possible. I hope you will encounter kindness and understanding from those you meet along the way, just as I did. And I hope that in turn, you will extend those gifts to others. I hope you can forgive the phys ed story told on my behalf of my teachers all those years ago. I can only thank them and all those who have helped me along the way for their kindness toward me. I thank my wife, Nancy, a Brescia graduate, for helping me out during my journey at Western. And I thank my family, who are all here today. Un gros merci d'être venu de si loin. And lastly, I thank all of you for your kindness in welcoming me today and for bestowing on me an honor that I will treasure always. Thank you.